were very inspired by him.
Well, I was just struck by his delivery, of course, because it was like poetry.
Yeah.
But his message was also one of cultural appropriation and how, you know, a dominant group in a society exploits the culture of a less privileged group without understanding that group's experience. And I think that's something...
Got an example?
Zendaya. I mean, Zendaya has spoken about it often, where you have, you know, you wear cornrows as someone that's African-American.
And that's not an homage to the look?
No, because over the summer, our hair gets kind of frizzy. And so you put the braids in, but when my friends are feeling me, and, you know, you have someone like Kendall Jenner who will wear it, and all of a sudden it's fun and fresh and hip, and it's new, when it really is a form of cultural appropriation. And I think that, you know,
so
it's
is
wonderful.
It insensitive for Kylie to do? Should she not do it, or?
You know, I think intent is really important, and so yes, she can do it, but it's wonderful to love Black culture. But when Black people are being murdered on the street, and when Black people are being discriminated against, where are you? Where are you? So love the culture, but love the people too. And I think what's really interesting is Justin Timberlake was similarly moved, as I was, and he tweeted out, Jesse Williams, though, inspired BET 2016. But then people started really coming for him and saying, well, are you going to stop appropriating our music, and are you going to apologize to Janet Jackson? And then he says, oh, you sweet soul, the more you realize that we are the same, the more we can have a conversation. But I think that misses the point.
But he got a backlash after the first tweet, which was he was inspired. And why I am so frustrated about this topic is when someone comes out and feels moved, they may not understand the plight or the, you know, everyone grew up with different experiences. When people come out of the gates, negative, hammering, or, you know, that was so bad, hashtag, you know, all this, it's not the right way to have a conversation. Because I once had a conversation about the Kylie Jenner and the hair, and I asked a friend of mine who's Black, I said, behind closed doors, let me just be able to have this conversation without offending you. I'm going to disclaim. And she goes, oh, I know you're not trying to say anything. Yeah. So we had a dialogue. It's very scary to come out and say something or open the conversation when people hate on you from the first point you speak up. Like,
why can't why can't they see? But why can't they see that with that first tweet, Justin Timberlake probably had really good intentions, and then that's a good way to open the dialogue. But then that dialogue is just shut when people come for him and don't realize, yes, he's at step 1, he maybe needs to go to step 10, but he opened that dialogue and he took a big step, and I'm sure he had good intentions.
I think he had good intentions, but when he tweeted out again, the more you realize that we are the same, the more we can have the conversation.
You know, all I can think of
we aren't treated the same, and so we have to acknowledge the difference.
When I was a kid, like in the 50s, you know, so you'd have James Brown singing, Tutti Frutti, all over the, you know.
Wrong guy,
okay,
wrong
who did that?
I was like, James Brown?
Oh my gosh! Who was it? All right, who was it?
Little Richard.
Okay, Little Richard.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! That's who I meant. Yeah, okay, so he's doing it and he's rocking and rolling. Now Pat Boone, who is as white as the back of this thing here, and he's singing Tutti Frutti, Gola Rudy, and he becomes the big hit.
He becomes the hit.
His became the hit.
Cultural appropriation.
That's what she's talking about. But that is then. I don't know if it's the same now.
Oh, I think it is
where
the
it's
same.
totally bastardized music.
I think it
that
is
was
the
the
same.
worst thing that anybody could do to Little Richard. I'm sorry to offend anybody. I didn't know who it was, but
I think it happens. I think it happens.
It's a long time.
Very often.
To jump in on this conversation.
Yeah. Do you want to say something?
Facial expressions.
Well, you know,
Come on.
Tutti Frutti.
We can all sing Tutti Frutti.
Tutti Frutti.
Tutti
I think
Frutti.
it's very, it was a great speech. I think it wasn't necessarily directed at Justin Timberlake. I think Justin Timberlake was saying, hey, oh, I get it. I was inspired. I get this. It's hard to bitch about this, though, when Usher finds Justin Bieber, who is a rapper, and says, hey, come and do this. And the reason why I think Justin Timberlake talks about one is because musicians are a whole different thing. And I think they're different because all of those years of music disappearing from different musicians, I think musicians saw that And so now they're listening to the music. It's the one language in the world where you don't have to know what's being said. You get the groove. So I think that there's a lot of appropriation going back and forth. The weave, okay? The weave doesn't look like this. The weave kind of looks like this.
It does?
Yeah, a lot of weaves look like this. So I just feel like if you're going to talk about appropriating and what's cool and what's not cool, we're all in deep doo-doo because we're doing it to each other constantly.
But I don't know that you can culturally, I mean, I don't know that as the less privileged group, you can be guilty of cultural appropriation because when you're describing...
If you culturally appropriate what you think is going to make you them, yeah, it's an issue. Well, and so when you see all of these wonderful black women who have blonde hair, okay, that is a weave. I'm sorry.
But that's because black women for so long have been told that that's what the standard of beauty is.
Because, no, here's
so that's
why.
different.
No, we're trying to get to the place that says we're as good as you. That's what everybody's doing. That's what everybody's doing. So if you're appropriating, they're appropriate. Everybody's, the Japanese are appropriating, the black folks are appropriating, Spanish people are we're appropriating each other. It's not just a black thing. This is happening all over the place. We do it all the time. We go and get Botox we don't need. Come on.
Well, speak for yourself on that one.